Good morning and welcome to another one of my morning mugs. I'm author and ghostorian Mike Ricksecker, and it's Sunday, so it's a little bit later of a morning mug. Hopefully we'll still get this out in the morning. If it's not still morning here, it might be morning Central Time or Mountain or Pacific or somewhere in the world is going to be the morning. So what I have today just came out yesterday. Now, it was very, very strange. And I'm talking about Campfire Tales Midwest. And there's a little bit of a glare on that, isn't there? Oh well. Kind of officially came out yesterday. Now, it was originally supposed to come out in the fall, and Schiffer's been a publisher of mine for a number of years now. Ghosts of Maryland, Ghosts and Legends of Oklahoma both came out through them. Been very impressed with them. Very good quality books. But for whatever reason, the release date on this book got really, really screwy. It was originally supposed to come out in the fall. Didn't hear anything, except that, I was getting, things back like, the cover art and things like that, which I approved a while back. But when it became the fall, I didn't hear anything for a while. I finally touched base, and they're like, well, it has a release date of December 28th. December 28th, it's like right between, Christmas and New Year's. He's going to be buying a book then. So they then decided, and prior to that, it had a release date of March 28th on Amazon since the summer. And that's subject to change, whenever the official date comes out. So it became December 28th. And then it's like, well, that doesn't make sense. Then it became January 28th is what they changed it to, which I guess it did officially release January 20th. However, the date never changed on Amazon. And most of you guys buy my books through Amazon. I mean, sometimes you buy it off the website and, maybe Barnes and Nobles, or you go to the store or whatever, but most of my book sales come through Amazon, so it has remained March 28th this entire time. So I never did any sort of official release because of that. Because I'd be sitting there saying, okay, it's released, you can go get it, and the majority of people would go to Amazon and see that it's still under pre-order. So now I can say it's officially released, even though it already was. All that aside, different publishing quirks and snafus. Campfire Tales Midwest is now available. And basically what this book is a collection of fictional short stories, but they're based on real history and legends. So the information that is within about the different historic locations and the different legends that are told, their real history, their real legends that are told, by the locals or passed down through the ages, those sorts of things. So while the characters that are within here may not be real, the stories that they're telling and the history that they're giving is real. So, and you can debate on some of that if you like. Go ahead and hit me up and say, hey Mike, is this part really true? And it may or may not be. So, but see, that's one of the things that, as, I don't want to say like a good reader, but maybe somebody who is a little bit more responsible in their research. Same thing when you watch a movie, based on a true story. Look that stuff up. Because while there may be many things throughout the movie that are true and are real, not always the case. And so it's always good to follow up and find out what the real story is. I use things like that as kind of like a motivator to, find out more about those, different places, different people, things like that, because Hollywood has a way of changing it up. So this is kind of in between. I have fictional books, my mystery novels, and then I have books that are completely, totally true, which are my ghost books, Ghosts of Maryland, Ghosts and Legends of Oklahoma. Now I'm going to read an example out of here. thought you guys might like to get a bit of a sample. Over the last couple months, if you've been watching my channel, you've seen that I've posted a lot on Fort Chaffee. I re-released the Paranormal Rose video. I, for the first time, released the fire footage, which was taken 3.5 years ago, and I had never released that, and I finally did. And that was of Fort Chaffee had burned down, and we were headed out to another investigation, and it was also out in Arkansas, but further down the road, and we stopped by to see the site where everything had burned, because it had been like a day and a half beforehand, and so we went out there and the fire kicked back up. So I released that, and then I released raw footage of the investigation that we did out there. So instead of the edited Paranormal Roads show of it, it was just the raw footage. People had asked for it, so I tried to, on this channel, give you what you want, and some people had asked for just the raw footage, and I provided that. So the reason why I was doing all of that was in anticipation of this book, because one of my favorite stories that I wrote for this is called Feeling the Afterlife, and it is based on that field hospital complex at Fort Chaffee. And what I've done with it, and I actually talked about this on the radio interview I was on with Andrea Perrin a couple weeks ago, and George Lopez, is because she was asking about the Emmett house where I first met Andrea, and it had also burned down. And just, my feelings about, places like that, being destroyed, and, it's an absolute tragedy. And one of the questions that popped up was, what happens to the spirits that are there? And the end of this story kind of explores that, and we'll touch on that here in a few minutes. But let me go ahead and start on Feeling the Afterlife. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but just kind of give you an idea of where I'm going with this. So, this is Feeling the Afterlife. And Schiffer does a great job of including photography within here, so let me go ahead and read. We were on maneuvers in the dead of the night in some godforsaken place. It was an open range, desolate, with small pit craters surrounding us from exercises in the past. You could always hear that faint whistle of the incoming shell before it slammed into the ground and exploded in a ball of fire, illuminating the trees that surrounded what became our ground zero. One time, though, that whistle came too close. Where have I been? Memories have been somewhat elusive, fading in and out like an old light bulb, but they keep coming. Oh, I've been at Fort Chaffee in Arkansas. That's right. When I first arrived, they showed us the chair Elvis sat in to get his first military haircut back in 1958. The memory seems like it's trapped in a heavy bank of fog, like something out of a dream. They poke and prod me. I'm not aware of much around, but I hear someone say critical, and another say that chances are slim. Do they not know I can hear them? I'm right here, fellas. I'm awake. I can't feel the lower half of my body. I try to move, but I'm completely paralyzed. Not my legs, not my arms, nothing. And I can't open my eyes. All is dark except for a red, hazy glow in my periphery. I vaguely sense that something is jammed up my nose, while something else protrudes from my mouth. I don't want to imagine what I look like. Feet shuffle about the room, and low, murmured voices continue to whisper around me. I can't hear exactly what they're saying anymore, but I know it's about me. Their tones are grave and concerned. There's more poking and prodding, while the erratic beat of the heart monitor pulsates in my ear over and over again. Metal clinks and chimes. A man mutters something indiscernible, and an intense pressure presses down on my chest. This is what it feels like to be a patient. The room is lucid, almost transparent, yet dark. Is this a dream? A scorching pain in my chest makes it feel like I'm breathing in razors. Each inhale labored and difficult. My heart is pounding, rapid and painful. I want to scream, to yell for help, for someone to come and end the agony. At least I can feel again, but something is wrong. Very, very wrong. The darkness creeps in around me like a suffocating coffin. My body is tossed onto a roller coaster, convulsing up and down. Oddly, I don't actually lift from the bed with the waves. I experience only the sensation of the ride bounding through what's left of my shredded musculature. The waves get bigger and deeper, my breathing more raspy and painful, and I'm helpless to stop it. For a split second, an electric tingle emanates through me, and thin, broken streaks of lightning carve crooked paths through the darkness, then disappear. The rippling ride ends, but the journey isn't over. I drift upward, weightlessly, rising toward the ceiling. I can finally see again, but my eyes aren't pained from the sudden introduction of light into my world. In fact, it's not as if I opened my eyelids at all. It's as if a veil or a shroud has been lifted from me, and not only has my sight been restored, but all the pain is gone as well. The ascent toward the top of the room slows, and I hover in midair. What am I doing up here? I turn and gaze down at the thin, pale, destroyed figure of my bloodied corpse. This is what it feels like to die. I'm still here, but I'm not. People pass me by, but they don't see me. I try to talk to them, but they don't hear me. The entire complex is bustling with activity. Hospital personnel coming and going, but I'm not a part of it. I roam the wards, searching for anyone who will acknowledge me, but no one does. The halls are all interconnected like one massive labyrinth. I can vaguely remember being informed that the Fort Chaffee Field Hospital was like its own little community, but I had never visited it. I wonder who told me that. Now, it's my home. Families come to watch movies at the theater, while criminals are hauled into the modest prison section. Soldiers and doctors kick back with a few games of bowling at the small alley, while medications are administered in the psychiatric ward. Sometimes I take a curious glance at what's tossed into the incinerator, usually trash, but sometimes a body part or two. The staff tossing it doesn't seem to mind one way or the other, and they all remain oblivious to my presence. What will it take? How can I make myself known? I've longed for that human interaction, for I don't know how many years now. How long has it been? Time feels different now, somehow. Someone has to know I exist. This is what it feels like to wander. And it goes on like that a bit, as the ghost, the spirit, has different experiences as a ghost and a spirit throughout the history of the Fort Chaffee Field Hospital complex up through the fire. And the end of it, the ghost actually questions, what am I going to do now? You know, where I've been calling home for so long is now gone. You know, my body's buried, you know, at a cemetery, you know, down the road a little bit. You know, do I hang out with my body? You know, do I roam the ruins? Do I go somewhere else? And that was a question that came up on a World Awakening. Was, you know, what do spirits that have gone through that happen? Now, if it's a residual haunt, you know, they're probably just going to keep going back and forth because it's just a recording. But an intelligent haunt, what do? And it's a good question, and this kind of asks that question, but it also goes through what a ghost and a spirit may likely be feeling, you know, as they're going through the years, as they're going through time, as people start to visit. You know, this touches on when the hospital was abandoned. It touches on when people started investigating the paranormal there and looking for ghosts and spirit. It even touches on Ghost Adventures showing up. Although I don't, you know, specifically name Ghost Adventures, just a description you can kind of tell. But you also get a sense of some of the actual, you know, facts that I was talking about within there, like the bowling alley, and you know, that it was its own little community, and how massive that complex was. So, but now with, you know, the Fort Chaffee Field Hospital complex now gone, it's, you know, up to, you know, the little historical society that's there, you know, of course, has, you know, done some things to honor that memory, but then it's, you know, up to people who visited it, and that's, you know, the paranormal investigators that were there. So I know NVPRI did a lot of investigations there, and you know, there's a lot of, you know, fantastic facts and experiences and things like EVPs and photographs and things that they had there. Our team, Society of the Haunted, had a really great 2-day investigation there. We were the last team that was there. We had a lot of photography. Of course, you've seen the videos and things like that. So it's kind of up to us to honor those memories and remember, you know, those that had been there, because, you know, places, especially places like this that, you know, weren't well known, you know, but still had a history. It's up to people like us to honor those memories and, you know, keep people informed, because otherwise they're just going to fade away. That's, you know, one of our jobs, I think, when we're investigating the paranormal, as far as, like, you know, the research side of it. So that's all I have. This was a little bit of a longer morning mug, and I hope you I have not been able to talk this morning. Well, I hope you enjoyed the snippet of the story. You can get this on Amazon now. I don't quite have it up on my site yet to order from my site, but I will have that soon where you can order autographed copies from there. But definitely you can get it through Amazon now. And then, other places like, Barnes & Noble and all that stuff. But I did wait specifically for March 28th to do the official release. So that's all I have. Typical stuff. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. Leave comments below if you have any questions about the book, about writing, about publishing, any of that good stuff. Please go ahead and leave those comments below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. Until next time. Families come to watch movies at the theater while criminals are hauled into modest... There's a hooded ghost behind me.